Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for October 22nd. How is everyone doing? My name is Erik. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Chase, aka the Wolf of Oakland, is coming on. Him and I are going to look back at week 7, plus share our week 8 bets. And Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we get into all that, I would like to say thank you to the sponsors. Actually, I have 2 sponsors of the show now. First sponsor, Boom Fantasy. Download the Boom Fantasy app. Use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. And visit JustOutTennis.store. Use promo code ETOFT21 for 10% off. I know right now those guys are offering free shipping, so make sure to check that out. Now, let's see what Gino has a cooking for us over at Keeneland for their carryover.
Carryover coming up on Wednesday at Keeneland. Let's give you a plate in race number 5. So we're looking at drf.com at the past performances. Make sure you head to shop.drf.com anytime you're playing the races. Race 5, a mile and a 16th on the turf course, maiden special weights. There's not a lot of early speed in this race. A couple horses stretching out, I think will be forwardly placed. I like the 6 One Front War. Showed speed in her debut up at Woodbine. She ran really well that day. She's going 6.5 furlongs. She just missed. And 6.5 is a really tough distance in which to debut. She's a horse who then tried grass in her second start. I think she should be right up on the front end. She's got speed. She can show it stretching out from sprint races. We saw it in her career debut. She ended up finishing 6th in that second start. She was not far out of 3rd. She was on the outside, and it was a blanket finish. The race, when you're watching it, looks a lot better than it might look on paper. I think she's bred really well, too. When you take a look at her dam, she was a 3-time winner on the turf. All of those races are going long, and you find some turf in this pedigree, too. A couple more turf winners that she's direct siblings to. So a lot of positive stuff for One Front War, the number 6 at Keeneland on Wednesday. This is race number 5, One Front War. We're hoping going to be right on the front end or sitting very close because there's not a lot of speed in here. 6-1 on the morning line. Anything around 7-2 or above, that feels fair. Best of luck on Wednesday over at Keeneland. Make sure to tune in each and every week here for the best information in sports from Erik.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B on X. I'm on his podcast every single week, talking NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, you name it. Now, let's welcome the guest for tonight's show, the host of the Notorious OTB Podcast, my boy Chase, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oakland. Chase, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me. It's always fun when I get to drop by. So been looking forward to this for a week now.
Love having you on. I do have to ask you a question because we haven't had a chance to talk. Mm-hmm. Thoughts after the Arkansas game on Saturday?
I think even though we were coming off the bye week, I think it still kind of makes sense for that to be a big letdown spot after the Tennessee win, even though you had the bye week in between. I still think this is a 6-6 football team, and there are 2 games in particular that I think we have to win to go to a bowl game this year coming up. So we'll see if we can get either one of those or both of them, hopefully.
Now, C Spear 22. Where do the Jets go from here?
Nowhere.
Shocker. Your biggest holes are stopping the run and like the back 4. You trade for Devontae Adams, and he doesn't help the situation. Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, what they get Hassan Reddick, who's been on like an extended holdout. You know he's not going to be in like football shape right away. I don't know. I think that there's just too much. Just you know, we asked the question, how much BS is too much BS? Like I feel like we're hitting the too much BS with the Jets right now.
Now, Spear22 also asks, can San Francisco survive with all the injuries?
I mean, what are we considered surviving? Like, I think they'll see another day, but I'm not sure.
I mean, my thing is this is Ricky Pearsall, who, you know what, it's great he's out there and playing, but it's amazing he's out there and playing.
Yeah.
But he literally just got shot.
Yeah.
And he's a top wide receiver. That's their lack of playmakers right now. We have no idea what's going on with CMC. Ayuk's out for the season, which is awful. Debo's in the hospital coughing up a lung. I mean, that was a situation. I don't know, and I don't think Purdy has enough. They're still plus 170 not to make the playoffs. I think that's got a little juice, dude. I mean, even though it's insanely down to where it was at the beginning of the year, when we look at the big scheme of it, San Francisco, even though they're insanely talented and Shanahan's one of the better coaches in the game, I think we need to seriously start having a serious discussion. Are they too far behind the 8 ball?
I think we're going to start seeing a lot of people, you know, staying out a lot longer for calf injuries, because it seems like the calf injuries turn into the Achilles injuries. You know,
I'm looking at it right now. They're 3-4. Arizona's 3-4, but Arizona has a game up on them. And Seattle's 4-3.
Yep.
So I mean, the remaining schedule, they play the Cowboys this week, then they go the bye. You know, then it's at Bucks, Seattle, at Packers, at Bills, Bears, Rams, at Finns, Detroit, and the Cardinals. I mean, there's only a couple gimmies on that one. That's a little bit of a tough schedule. And I don't know, man. Bears are playing better than I thought they would be, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that plus 170 has a little bit of juice to it.
Yeah.
Our boy Bobby chimes in. This FIU game is a brutal watch. That could be the understatement of the year, my friend. I just looked at the score. I'm sitting on FIU plus 6.5. Sam Houston has the ball, 2nd and 6 on FIU's 36 with 4 minutes to play in a 7-7 barn burner. Barn burner, my friend. Let's talk some takeaways, man. I'm interested to see where you're going to be going this. Looking back at week 7, what'd you think of it, my friend?
I think it just kind of made itself extremely apparent who the best division in football is, and that the 3 best teams in the NFC are all in it's the same division. It's the NFC North, man, with with your Lions leading the way, the Vikings, and you can't sell the Packers short either. And then whenever they're playing against each other, they're playing each other close. Like it's
the
a really
Packers, they play each other next week. The following week, that's when they play.
Yeah, man. It's the best. I think the best division in football. I think the deal is, like, you might have the 2 best teams in the AFC, but I also think that you have a really low floor in the AFC. Like, I'm pretty certain that the AFC has the worst teams in the league. I think that, there's way less talent in the AFC once you get past, like, the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Steelers. Like, I think it falls off quite a bit.
So C-Spear asked the question, who deserves to be the starter in Pitt?
I thought Russ looked kind of good, man.
They're averaging over 7 yards of play, man.
Yeah.
They're literally averaging over 7 yards of play. And I mean, with that being said, you kind of got to let him cook, man. You got to let Russ cook. My whole thing is Now, maybe, like, dude, I'm wearing a Lions hat, and I strive myself on not being a homer. I try to strive myself on not being a homer. But if I had to put $100 on a team to win out of that division, I think I'm putting it on the Lions.
Totally. I think for one, I just trust Dan Campbell. The offense is loaded with playmakers. Not having Hutch is gonna suck in the long run, I think. But I think that they got all the tools to win that. Maybe without Hutch, maybe it's not the Super Bowl run, but like they've got all the pieces to win a division by all means.
No, not. Hey, Oklahoma State covered, my friend. Oklahoma State covered last week. No Oklahoma State hate. No Oklahoma State hate. I think they kind of got to make a move. Zadar Smith, the guy from the Browns, that's the guy getting a lot of play. And they were able to generate pressure at some key points against the Vikings, but you could kind of see it toward the end of the game. You're like, yeah, this is where we really miss Hutchinson right now. And
right.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how much capital Smith is willing to give up to make a move to get a pass rusher. It's going to be interesting. My takeaway, and you know what? I hope our friend XFL Jim isn't watching this.
Okay.
Mike McDaniel needs to go. He just needs to go.
You think so?
Off a bye, you do not give Tyreek Hill the ball into the 144 mark in the third quarter. You are playing the Colts, who have allowed the 7th most yards to opposing wide receivers per game. Okay. They allow, the 7th most, they run zone 70% of the time, and Hill has a 31% first down touch rate.
Right.
7.48 yards per catch against zone. 9 yards per target share against zone. And you're running tight end screens for Jonnu Smith. Was that the meeting? Like, literally, was he like sitting there in the meeting? And I'm assuming he does his meeting in flip-flops. I don't know. Maybe I'm just judging right now with his little Slurpee and saying, hey, guys, you know what? I think Jonnu Smith is the key. Look, watching the Colts right now, I think we need to really get the ball to Jonnu Smith. Just use Tyreek Hill as a decoy. The fastest wide receiver in the game. Let's not do any wide receiver screens. Let's not give him the ball in space. Let's run some tight end screens for Jonnu Smith. Like, literally, was that what he did? Because here's who had targets before Tyreek Hill. Jonnu Smith. Alex Ingold. Julian Hill. Malik Washington. And Odell, I should not be playing in the league anymore, Beckham Jr. All had targets before Hill had target. You are struggling to get in the playoff race. You're an alleged offensive genius. You're just holding on until Tua gets there. And that is what you had with extended rest. I am sorry, man. I am sorry. I've seen enough. You got to go. You have to go.
That's so tough because I think he's such a cool dude.
He reminds me, and how can I put this? I don't want to step on anyone's toes here. So if this comes out wrong, I apologize. He reminds me of the dude we all know who's like, oh, dude, this is great, bro. Man, I'm just living the life.
Yeah.
You know, and then his wife leaves him. Like Ben Stiller. What was the movie? Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. Just high, has the coolest gym in the town. And at the end of the movie, he's overweight eating ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just kind of feel Mike McDonald's just there, and this is all going to be taken away from him. And then he's going to be like, oh, shit, I fucked up. Like, right now, it's so hard to be an NFL coach. You have Jalen Waddle, Achin, Mozart, Tyreek Hill. And you're giving the ball to Jonnu Smith? Like, what am I missing here? You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, right. And I didn't bet the side. I had no financial investment in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't me being the angry gambler talk. This is me literally, you're supposed to be an offensive genius. Show me why you're a fucking offensive genius.
Right.
Language.
I've been so checked out on the Dolphins. Who did they even trot out to start in this game?
Snoop Huntley, who, you know
Was
what?
it Snoop Huntley still?
2 years ago, guess what? Snoop Dogg was a freaking all-pro.
Yeah.
Harbaugh went into Cincinnati. I don't know if you remember the game. It was 4th down. They're trying to go for the touchdown to win it. Instead of giving the ball to Dobbins, they gave it to what's his face? They had Huntley try to sneak it in. It was a fumble, and they ended up winning the game. And you can't go to the Colts, who are bleeding production in the back four, and come up with a deserving offensive game plan? Like, what the fuck, excuse my language, am I missing here?
I don't know, man. I think you're right. He's kind of hinging everything on Tua coming back and everything working, clicking from that point. But I don't know. This might be a little foreshadowing to one of my plays. I think that you have to remember that whenever Tua was there and not injured this season, it's not like he was doing extremely well in his first 2-3 games.
I will say this, though. I know he's getting a lot of flack. I guess he's getting a helmet because he's not wearing the Guardian helmet. I guess he's getting a helmet specially made for him. So that is why he is not getting the Guardian helmet. He didn't do a good enough job explaining that.
Yeah.
But that is why he didn't do it.
I got to imagine that the Guardian helmet would be really difficult for a quarterback.
So let me ask you this. You have kids.
Yeah.
If Tua was your son, are you telling him to hang it up?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, because he got to his second contract, like he got paid.
Yeah.
Like the family's taken care of and everything. Like you don't got to anymore if it comes down to it. It just, I don't know. I couldn't watch my kid like go up, look like he's dying on the field like that, because those not only has he gotten concussions, he's gotten really not pretty concussions on top
like
of that.
Brutal concussions. And you
brutal
see
concussions.
The CTE stuff. You see everything, all the side effects. Like I don't understand. Like I don't know. But that's not a conversation we're here. We're at my favorite part of the show. And you know what? We do this on this show, my friend. We are going head to head, and we go head to head. There's a t-shirt bet. So tell us Thursday night who you like.
I'm going with the Vikings minus the 3. This just comes down to me really liking the Vikings defense. The Rams being pretty banged up in terms of personnel. It's not like they're really going in massive, raucous home crowd in LA. Like there will be plenty of Vikings fans there showing up in LA. So it's kind of like a neutral site game at best. I really like the Vikings to really, be able to win this by a touchdown, be able to hang their hat on defense a little bit. They're still remarkably not that injured for this point in the season. They've got Darnold. They've got, they've got Jefferson. They've got everything that they need. Yeah, man, I think that the Vikings easily cover the 3. I'll say they win it by a touchdown.
What is your take on Darnold? Interesting. And it's not historical. It's not, how can I word this? Historically speaking, if a quarterback doesn't progress from year 1 to year 2, they just don't get it. And they're just right. And now we're seeing Darnold, this is what, year 7, year 8, just morphing into something. Is this a fluke? Is this O'Connell? Like, literally, what do you think of him?
I think 2 things. It's a little bit of O'Connell, and it's a little bit of you now have as a target that you can just say, screw it, I'm throwing it up to Justin Jefferson. I'm going to throw up to one of the best wide receivers in the game and just trust play.
Now, would you want him to be the quarterback of your Saints?
I mean, right now I feel like you might need someone who can run for their lives. If for the starting for the Saints, but The way he's playing, I can't say no. I mean, he would have weapons there too, but he doesn't have like a Justin Jefferson just like go up and get it kind of guy. I don't know. Yes, in the long run, I say yes. I'd love it.
Now, speaking of your Saints, there's all these rumors about Kamara and selling off. What do you think they should do this year? Because they started out great, but they've just got bit by the injuries. You know what I mean? Like they start out like a bat out of hell, look great. They have third string linemen playing. They have Spencer Rattler back there. Olave got another concussion. He's another guy. He's got 4 concussions now in his young career. Should they sell off and just start trying to get a couple more draft picks? Should they grind it out, try to free up some cap space? As a Saints fan, where's your head at? What do you think they should do? And follow up, what do you want them to do?
What do I think they should do? At this point, I think it's a coaching change, and I think it's maybe like a fire sale and just go ahead and rebuild and try to make trades for picks and try to make up cap space to maybe go after a couple of free agents, and just start it fresh. Because I think we've seen what we're going to get out of this head coach, and it's just nothing's changed. Like nothing has changed over the last couple of years, other than the team has gotten worse. So I don't know. I think that's what they should do. That's kind of what I want them to do. I don't know. Also have a love affair with Kamara in terms of him just being, I think, cool as shit. So I don't really want to see him go, but if that's the move for draft picks, maybe it should be time to go.
Should 41 be retired?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Really?
Oh, I thought he was asking if Alvin Kamara should be retired.
I think he means a jersey, right?
Yeah, I get it now. Maybe. I think so. Well, yeah, I think so. He's one all-timer.
And I'm a stiff. Sometimes I fumble on these shows. I've been doing this, 2-3 years now. I should do this. Forgot to look back at how we did last week on the show. David was on. David hit the Steelers money line, lost the 49ers -1, lost the Saints money line. I hit the Chiefs +1.5. Still trying to figure out how the Browns +6.5 did not get home. Lost the Saints +2.5. Overall for the show, we are 21-17-1. Still head above water, which is great. So we are going head to head. My bet is I am taking the Rammies here +3. So there's an interesting trend. For the last 2 seasons, teams after they played the Lions
0-4.
No, last 2 years. This year and last season. 36% against the number. And I think that's because of the physical style the Lions played. We saw this a couple years ago when Sirianni first came in with the Eagles, when they're really more run-centric. These guys were just tired from the wear and tear. Now you have the Vikings on a short week going across the country. I also think the Lions may have showed the blueprint to beat the Vikings. No, what they did, no other team has done yet. They established the run early, and then by establishing the run, they were able to open up the middle of the field. The Rams have been running the ball great. Kyron Williams averaging 90.25 yards per game, 4.1 yards attempt the last 4. Now, Cooper Kupp could be coming back. I know there's these trade rumors. They're not going to trade him this week. I don't know. And those trade rumors don't get out unless someone puts them out. Does that make sense? They're not getting out unless someone puts them out. Who put them out? We don't know. Could it have been the Steelers that put him out? Could it have been Kupp? Could it have been the Rams? We don't know. But if Kupp plays and it's looking like he could, that's going to open up the middle where Amon-Ra St. Brown feasted. Over the last 2 weeks, I'm a big regression guy. The last 2 weeks, do you care to guess what road favorites are against the spread?
Ooh. No, I don't want to.
13-2. They're due for some regression. Like, I'm not. Those who know me, I'm a home. I like betting on teams at home. Like betting dogs. It's been a rough 2 weeks for Uncle Rico and Uncle Rico. A lot of home dogs losing. So I'm gonna play the regression. Nakuka could be coming back, take some advantage of the Vikings secondary. I think they've overachieved. I think their weakness, like I mentioned, is defending the slot. St. Brown, 8 for 112. I think they're going to have some success there. Going to Cooper Kupp. If he doesn't play, going to Tutu Atwell. Do we trust Sam Darnold to win on the road with margin? When I look at his career, now granted, you and I just talked about he's been night and day different. For his career, $171 per game on the road, a 1-to-1 TD to INT ratio. O'Connell comes from the McVay coaching tree. He runs the same offensive that McVay does. With that being said, I think the Rams will know what to expect. The Rams, young guys in the defensive line they drafted, have been looking better and better. End of the day, I don't trust Darnold to win with margin. I think the blueprint's out for the Vikings. I think the Rams will be able to run the ball, use the middle of the field. So I'm going to play the trends, and I'm going to play those factors I just mentioned. Give me the Rammies here, plus the 3.
I feel like this is the first time I've heard you say win with margin so far this season, and I missed it. I missed it, to be honest.
For those who don't know, Chase and I, every Saturday, Chase, myself, and Jim, we college basketball. I mean, during the summer months, there was a lot of baseball. And my term I use a lot is win with margin. And I think I need to start bringing that one back. I think that's an oldie but a goodie. I'm gonna start selling some T-shirts and then just say "win with margin." Win with margin.
Yeah, it's just a
trendy thing to say, dude. Yeah. Next bet, my friend.
Pats Jets. Yeah, under 41.5. How bad is the Pats offense?
Really bad. Really
bad.
You want to hear something that just blew my mind? Like, this blows. Oh, first of all, do your bet, and then I'll tell you what I heard.
Yeah, and also I'm very underwhelmed by the Jets. Like, I don't think that they're a team that could, if the defense is good enough to just kind of shut down the Pats, which they should be good enough. Like, I don't think they're a good enough team to go out there and score 30 points if they had to, or cover this on their own if they had to. Like, I really very underwhelmed with what I've seen from the season. So I'm excited to fade the point scoring ability of Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Not a big Rodgers guy, man.
No, dude, not at all. Not at all. He's looked bad. He's looked terrible. Like, some of these sacks, like some of these are his fault, like, because he's not seeing the blitz. He's not getting the protection right and everything. And he's getting absolutely hammered. And like, some of it might be play design. Some of it might be, play calling, but like some of it has to be his fault too. And, I don't know. I can't separate the player from the dude like off the field now at this point either too. So I just hate them all around.
Shocker, a 41-year-old coming off a major injury, sucking.
Right.
Shocker.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. This is the stat that blew my mind. Last 2 weeks, Drake May has got over 20 fantasy points in each game. I mean, I have a little what is it called? Waiver wire thing I do every Tuesday. That was my big stat. Drake May, back-to-back 20 game points. My next bet, and I apologize because I said I was going to get the Christina Aguilera clip. Let's get dirty. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders. You read that right, guys. Plus 10. Big number. And guys, I know it's been a weird time right now with these big favorites winning, but it's not going to be for long and covering. Mahomes laying 3.5 or more, 45% against the number, 7.5 or more, 43% against the number. Another thing I looked at, teams the last 2 years that have played the 49ers the following week are 38.5% ATS, physical way they play. I feel it's a good situational spot. Chiefs just beat the 49ers in a Super Bowl rematch, coming home laying double digits. Last 20 years, teams laying 10 or more, 47% ATS. Last 20 years, home divisional teams laying 10 or more. Home divisional teams laying 10 or more, 44.1% against the spread. Last 10, 40.3%. Chiefs injuries are adding up. Pacheco, Hollywood. Do we all forget they have Hollywood Brown too? Like Hollywood Brown is to play a snap. Hollywood Brown, Rice on the IR. Juju Smith-Schuster already rolled out for the game. Their starting wide receiver unit is Justin Watson, Sky Moore, and Xavier Worthy. Like
That's rough.
It gets to a point where their starters they're just too thin at the playmakers to have put up these huge numbers. Chiefs are the middle. Now the real weakness is, what position do the Chiefs struggle the most defending? The tight end. And who right now is setting the world on fire with how well he's been playing the position? Brock Bowers. That is a huge position that they have an advantage, and he's going to be the key to the game. They're going to pepper him with targets. Minshew, better for the offense. He can move the ball. He gives them, the Raiders, a chance to score, way better than Aiden O'Connell. I like the spot. I like the trends. I'm going to take the Raiders here, man. Give me the Raiders here. Plus 10. It's a dirty dog, man.
It's too big of a number in an NFL game. That's what it comes down to, I think. That's a huge number for a game. I like the swing with the Raiders. I like it.
I was so pissed. There's like this team should be better. It should be better. But I mean, their defensive line, they brought in Wilkins. He's been hurt. Another guy, I forget, I'm spacing on his name. He's been hurt. A lot of it has fallen on Crosby. Getsy's been a nightmare. The offensive line and Zamir White have struggled with they used to run a power gap run scheme. Now they're running this wide zone scheme blocking. I don't know. That's another team, a lot of talent. They just need a facelift up front, just to add one or two pieces. And I think they could be something. Next one, my friend, you kind of hit on this. You gave a tease earlier.
Yeah, taking the Cardinals +3 against the Dolphins here. Sure. So Tua's back, but you have now a rusty Tua. Whenever Tua wasn't particularly looking great, coming in out of training camp and being all in the best shape of his life into the beginning of the season. So I think that this is an easy spot to fade the Dolphins here. Give me the Cards. If you look at them, they've been running the ball fairly well. Yeah, man, I'm all about the Cardinals here.
Dolphins have some serious injury problems. I don't think anyone is really picking up on, especially on the defensive end. And do we trust Mike McDonald? Like, literally, like, I could go on and on about that. Like, I'm literally just like, what are you doing? Like, literally, like, just tread water for Tua. And I shouldn't be this pissed off because I am at plus 190 not to make the playoffs. And I think it would take a monumental effort for them to make the playoffs. I should not be this worked up about it, but for whatever reason, I'm worked up about Mike McDaniel this week. He is the thorn in my side. Have you seen that video on TikTok where it shows where he started, what he looked like, and what he looks like now?
Now that he looks like a drug dealer on Miami Vice with like his haircut, his hair all shaggy and like the dark aviator glasses and everything.
It was kind of funny. They did that with Campbell. He looked all dorky. Now he just looks like a chiseled god. Right now. And it's kind of funny, like, when you look back at it, I think the main thing that all these coaches, when you look at Mike McDaniel, Dan Campbell, and Robert Saleh, because they all got hired about the same time, when Dan Campbell came in, he said he was going to bite their kneecaps off, and he was just treated as a total mockery.
Total
mockery. Now, granted, Brad Holmes has done a great job putting talent in the room, no doubt. Robert Saleh's out of a job.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel could be out of a job. Campbell was one game away from the Super Bowl and arguably has the best team in the league right now.
Yeah. I
You know
think
what
they
I
got
mean?
a claim to it.
It's kind of creative. It kind of shows us we need to not just rush to conclusions when we look at these coaches and everything. We kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt and kind of look at the big picture. My next and final bet. You know what? I did it again. Give me the Cleveland Browns. Give me the plus 10. Now, you have to do it, man. This is just way too big of a number. When we look at Lamar Jackson, Lamar as a favorite is 41% with a line of 7 or higher. Former Saint great Jameis Winston as a dog is 65.5%, getting 3.5 or more. Last 20 years, home divisional dogs getting 3.5 or more, 55% against the number in September and October. Last 20 years, getting 6.5 or more, 56% ATS September and October. Last 6 years, that jumps up to 67%. I think this is a good matchup for Winston. This blows my mind. The Ravens give up the most passing yards per game. Winston is going to be able to throw the ball. Plus, Humphreys exited the game early. He's banged up. Someone with a history of injuries, are they really going to rush him back playing on a short week? Conklin and Wirfs are back. Browns' offensive line looked a lot better last week against the Bengals. I think this is just a situation. I know what happened to Watson was terrible, but everyone is saying there was issues in the locker room. Now, since he's gone, are we going to see a little bit more fight from the Browns, a little bit more rah-rah stuff?
Right.
Well, there's that clip where there's an offensive lineman down. Watson put his hand down. The guy just shoved it away.
Right.
That speaks, dude. Now, him down, Winston there. Are we going to see, you know what I mean? A little bit more rah-rah stuff. Since 2013, backup quarterbacks, first start, 62% against the number. Chubb, back, he looked pretty good. I think we're going to see him look even better the more he gets into the game flow, getting used to contact and everything. Ravens just gave up 125 yards to the Bucs on the ground. I think the Browns' offensive line is better. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. They're also a lot healthier, which is going to help in that matchup as well. Ravens' defense is bleeding production. They're allowing the most yards per game as well.
I didn't know that.
I mean, they're absolutely bleeding production. Ravens are letting teams back in, not finishing games. Look what happened against the Raiders. They should have beat the Raiders. They let the Raiders back in. They won the game. I think it was last year. They're at home. They're up double digits against the Browns. They let the Browns back in. The Browns won that game. The game against the Bucs had an opportunity to cover last night. But unfortunately, Chris Godwin, career probably over. That injury happened. That kind of took the winds out of the sail. But they're just not finishing teams. When I look at the game the Browns just played against the Bengals, they should have covered. They missed an extra point. They missed a field goal. And the Bengals scored an 100-yard touchdown return.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 11 points right there. Gifted. You know, that should not happen. Browns had more yards per play. When you look at, if you literally just looked at the box score and asked who would have won the game, you would have said the Browns. I feel that 10 in a divisional game is just too much. I like the Browns here. I think Winston's going to be able to throw. Give me the Browns plus 10.
Are you telling me this is sneakily a Jerry Jeudy blow-up week?
So speaking of blow-ups, dude, so let me tell you this. My new favorite player right now is Cedric Tillman. And I've been on the Cedric Tillman bandwagon for a while. I'm going to tell you, I bet Cedric Tillman, because he was going into the Amari Cooper role last week. I had his over in receiving yards, was 16.5. He ended up with 81. This is what I had with him. Okay. Hold on. Let me give this to you. I had over 60 at 13-1.
Ooh, nice.
I had over 25 at plus 160, over 40 at plus 425, over 50 at plus 750, him 45-1 to have the most receiving yards in the game. He had 81, flipping Jamar Chase 82.
Oh,
I know.
brutal.
I know. But dude, I can't. I mean, dude, like I ladder the hell out of him, dude. I can't bitch about that.
Yeah,
But
man, for sure.
I think he's going to have some value. I think, well, the thing I need to look at, and I'll have to tweet this out, is I need to see, because Tillman did finish with 12 targets, but I have to see once Winston came in after DTR was gone, how the target alignment went.
Right.
But yeah, should be a good weekend of football. Chase, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media when your podcast, the Notorious OTB Podcast, comes out? Those watching on YouTube, link to that bad boy is in the description, along with Chase's Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, handle. Why don't you tell everyone when that comes out and where they can find it, my man?
Yeah, it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can get it wherever you download your podcasts. Check it out on Spotify. Rate it on Spotify if you feel so moved. And yeah, you can always find me being abrasive on Twitter at @OakLawn. You can follow me there for horse picks, updates on stuff, and my general musings.
Also, Chase, myself, and Jim are live every single Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, where we are giving away some college football bets. We have been on an absolute heater, and we are going to be live this Saturday at noon for the Navy Notre Dame game. Should be an interesting little game. I already knocked in Navy plus 13.5. Make sure you give Chase a follow, and we'll be back next week with my boy O'Kane. Till next week, boys and girls, let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets.